31st December 2012. Everybody's with their family, with their friends, preparing for the big celebration. And I'm just standing in the office, working, as I did each and every day of that year. Around noon, one of my colleagues from IT department came in and asking the few of us to finish operations in 30 minutes, as all systems will be down for the new year. Very surprised and irritated, I stand up and ask the guy, how on earth this could be possible? You should announce me well-timed before. I have a lot of work to do. That guy throws me a deadly look, no answer, turns around and just leaves. And I'm still standing there, and after a while I said to myself, I think there is a problem. And after that, I started to analyze my life. I was seeing myself as a happy person with a nice job, with a lot of friends, with a lot of holidays abroad, and a lot of sport in my life, and mostly future self with more money, a bigger house, or other assets. But apparently, people around me had a slightly different opinion about who I really was. Yeah, and they were right. I was a superficial, I was a complete ignorant. I was working nonstop from 9 to 10 or 11 p.m. Of course, I had no time for friends and family. I had no time for reading. And my sport life was actually a monthly schedule to a gym club where I barely got once. Although I continued to renew it constantly, of course, I didn't have time to practice, right? Dreams about a future self were just fantasies, as I did nothing to chase them. Soon, I felt it all, and it was terrible. I had no energy. Every time was pretty much the same as the previous one, and I had no goal. I had no meaning. I dreamed of having things instead of becoming somebody or doing something. In March 2013, the company I'm working for organized a sales conference for the sales team and invited one person for a motivational speech, Andrei Roșu, if you know him. That guy was coming and presenting the story of his life, but I was so exhausted. I was preparing the materials for that presentation, for that meeting, and I was so tired, and the only thing in my mind was, let's get this over with, and let me go home to rest. By the time before he started his presentation, I was finishing with all my job, and then said to myself, okay, let's hear the guy talking. Of course, if you know him, he is also a banker. He started wanting to become a role model to his kid. He has a meaningful life, a happy family. And that message was somehow, my God, I have nothing of those. It is sad that the only way to predict the future is to invent it. So by the time he finished his presentation, I knew it with all my guts. Starting today, I'm going to run. And not from tomorrow, not from Monday, not from the first day of next month, but today. By the time I went home, I took some sports shoes, I went outside in the park and say, well, let's see what's running all about. Of course, after the 200 meters, I said, oh my God, this is horrible. I felt a lot of pains. I have felt dizzy or thirsty. I have pains in the chest, in the stomach, or in my feet. I said, I cannot do this. But the most important thing is that I did not give up, although I felt it 1,000 times. And I repeated and repeated each day. Basically, every time we try new things, our body is not used to them and takes every action as a threat to our ordinary existence. But the more we experience, the larger our limits become. And soon, I started to register my first achievements. First 5K, 10K, 21, and did not stop until 42. Basically, in 7 months, I was finishing the Bucharest International Marathon and have 4 of my friends in a relay. I was so happy, and that medal weighed so much in my hand. But finishing that got me to the point of 3 conclusions. 1, no goal is no life. So what do I do now? If I finish the marathon, I would probably go back to my old life if I don't have something else to follow. Number 2, boundaries. If I finished the marathon, starting from 0 to 42 in 7 months, with no specific training, just with courage and determination, it means I have a lot of resources in me that I'm not aware of. So, what are my limits? And 3, Andrei Roșu was talking about a life-changing experience. And finishing the marathon was rather important to me, but not life-changing. So I said, it has to be something greater than this. It has to be something that would scare me now. Something I would say, I would never do that. Something like 7 marathons, 7 ultras on 7 continents. So there you go. This was my new project. It is said, if you want to win, just run for 100 meters. If you want a life experience, run a marathon. If you want to be closer to God, run an ultramarathon. Looking at the world map calendar, I selected my races based on some characteristics like uniqueness, location, date of the contest, training I need for them. And the one that would scare me the most, the one that I would say, oh my God, this is so difficult, was, of course, Antarctica. Run for 100K in the South Pole. Just an excellent opportunity to be the one to start with. And right from the beginning, this project showed a lot of personality. 9 months before the race, the website announced no more places available. And it could well end it there, because I could say, well, I'm not that lucky. I knew it will happen to me. But instead, I wrote an email to the organizer saying things about me, things about my project, and they were answering, no more places available. As that answer didn't match my scenario, I wrote them back saying, I don't think I explained myself very clearly. I have to be there this year. In 5 weeks of no answer, they got back to me saying, we have somebody withdraw. Are you still interested? So there it goes. I was registered. The next thing was the training part. As an answer to my how to train for a 100K race question, the universe, or as a coincidence, I saw an ad launching a running program delivered by the same person that inspired me to run, Andrei Roșu. This time I was the first one to register with the following quote: look what you've done to me. Crazy things are running through my head right now. You have to help me achieve them. By far, the most difficult part was the sponsorship. After asking so many companies and got no answers back, after talking to a lot of people about this project and received strange looks in return, I finally got the sponsorship from the same company that I'm working for after asking 11 times. Of course, this was not easy. And preparing for this project changed me a lot. I have to rearrange my life in order to be the person at the finish line. I had to split my day in 3. Running and planning between 5 and 8 a.m., job and, from 9 to 6 p.m., and friends and family before 10. Actually, fewer of my friends understood my life. I was becoming a vegetarian. I woke up at 5. I go to bed before 10, usually the time where my friends were going out. And neither they nor my family trusted my sane capacity. Actually, I can split their support in 2. The spiritual approach, are you in a religious group or something? And of course, the modern approach. Are you on drugs? And I could never blame them because there were times when I felt the same thing. There were times when I had to overcome my own pains. There were times when I had to go out and run for 6 hours or 8 hours or 12 hours, even if I felt tired or sick, frozen or overheated. There were times when I had to overcome my fear of flying and reach locations in 15,000 miles away from home in 48 hours and switching 5 planes. There were times when I had 1 million of Holy Fathers because I was flying 12 hours, out of which 8 in continuous turbulences. But the most important part was actually the people I met on the way. In Antarctica, for example, I met a team of 6 people and 1 from Brazil that helped me the most. Basically, all the people all over the world found my journey so interesting and my story so inspirational that did everything in their powers to help me. And in Antarctica, those people were making me massage, or bringing me food, or preparing my energy gels or powders. Actually, one guy that came with his sponsor, a 55-year-old businessman from Beijing, with no running history and no plans to run. Look at me, and he was seeing me smiling. He was seeing me telling jokes to everybody. He was seeing me giving hugs to the rest of the competitors, although I was running 24 hours continuously. That came to me and said, look, I like you so much. I have decided to run the marathon tomorrow, the half marathon tomorrow. And I said, how can I inspire you? You gave money to the other guy. Well, come on, forget about him. He's an animal. Look at you, you're so fragile. And I cannot describe the happiness that guy felt when he finished that half marathon. In Vietnam, for example, another good story was, before the race, the organizers announced us, eat well, hydrate enough, and always take good care of each other. This is why I was always smiling to the other people on the way, and I was giving painkillers if they needed to. The most important feeling I had with another story. A guy from France, Philippe Laurent, on his name, he was running in the South Pole just because he had MS, multiple sclerosis, and the reason he was running is just to prove doctors that the wheelchair can still wait, although his disease was getting worse 1 year to another. After all this time, after all this struggle, after everything that I had in mind, and stories that kept me fighting, that kept me, pushed me towards the finish line, there it goes. I was the first woman in Romania to run in Antarctica, and number 6 in the world to finish the 100K race. All of it with just courage and determination. And then I finished the rest of the races from South Africa to North America, from Europe to New Zealand or Australia, or even Asia. I finished all the races, I beat the record, and now I'm waiting for the certification. The dreams to the better version of myself will continue, this time with an Ironman, this time with discovering the different things in the triathlon world. I'm covering the running part. I will go for barely standing level in bike, and yesterday I had the 4th swimming lesson in my life. The trainer says I'm promising, and I'm telling you a secret. I think I like it more than running. As usual, it will start with small steps. All we need to do is just start. So, everybody has its own race. Just start the run that will become your marathon. Just start reinventing your future. Nothing happens until you move. From that moment on, pursue for more and go the extra mile, because out there, it's never crowded. Thank you.